Okay guys, so here's the problem. In class today we talked about rationalizing the denominator. And let's say that I give you this radical over here, and I ask you to rewrite it in the simplest form. We know that there's nothing else we can do because nothing else simplifies. But in class we talked about the denominator, and we said that we never wanted it to have a radical. In this case, if we break it down into two different ones and a division of radicals, we see that there's a radical in the denominator. So we're going to have to get rid of it. To do so, I'm first going to break down these 12 into factors. So we're going to have something like this. We have 12 is 3 times 4, but at the same time 4 is 2 times 2. So I know that 12 is 2 squared times 3. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as cubic root of 2 squared times 3 to the first times y squared times z. And I'm going to leave the same thing in the numerator. 5 times x squared, nothing's changed there. What you gotta ask yourself next is, so I want to get rid of the radical in the denominator. So that means that I want to make these 2 to the second power reach a power of 3. But how do I do that? And at the same time, you want to get this first power to become a 3, and you want to make this y squared to become a y to the third. So ask yourselves this question. Let's say that I have no, it's going to be too big. I want to save some room. Let's say that I have a 2 squared, and I want to make it a 2 to the third. How can I do that? A simple answer is, what can I multiply? Well, the answer is 2 to the first. Because you know that if you do that, you're gonna get 2 to the 2 squared times 2 raised to the power of 2 plus 1, because we add the exponents. So it's gonna give me this. So we're gonna use that idea and use it to simplify this expression. We're going to ask ourselves, what is this 2 to the second power missing to get to the index, which is 3? The correct answer is it's missing a 2 to the first power. We're actually going to include that here. Okay? Same question we're going to ask now is, what is this 3 to the first power missing to get to the index of 3? And the correct answer is 3 squared. Because we know that 3 squared times 3 to the first will give me a 3 to the third. And we ask this question one more time. What is y squared missing to get to an index of 3? And the correct answer is 1. Because y squared times y to the first is 3. And the z, remember there is a 1 here. It's in the square. Now, in the previous lesson last week, we learned that the only way we can multiply these out is actually if we have the same index. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, because at this point I have that freedom. So now I have the same index. Now, because I don't want to change the value of this expression, my original expression is this one. I don't want to change the value of it. I can only multiply by something that has no value, and the only thing that we know has no value under multiplication is 1. For instance, let's say that I have 6. And I multiply it by z divided by z. Essentially what I get is 6z over z, which is 6. And that's the same thing we're doing here. We have an original expression, and so that we don't change the value, we want to multiply by something divided by something. And that's why we make the numerator the same. Whatever you got on the denominator, you're going to use in the numerator. So now, okay, so now we're ready to combine it under one same radical. So let's say that I use my first radical, which is, and I should probably use the same color so you guys don't get confused. Okay, so I'm going to use 5x squared. I'm going to multiply times 2 times 3 squared times y times z. And then over here I'm going to do the same. I'm going to keep the index and I'm going to do the same. So essentially all I've done is find out what was missing here, combined it under the same radical, and now I'm going to multiply. So let's see, 5 times 2 is 10 times 3 squared is 10 times 9 is 90. And I'm going to let you do this by yourself. I mean, essentially what you're doing here is 5 times 2 times 9, and that gives me 90. X squared, I'm not combining it with anything. Y to the first, and z. Next, here's where it gets interesting. 2 to the second power times 2 to the first is 2 to the third. 3 to the first power times 3 squared is 3 to the third. Y squared times y to the first is y to the third. And z to the first times z squared is z to the third. So we got everything we needed here. So now we're going to go ahead and cancel it out. And you know that this cancels out with the index, this cancels out with the index, this cancels out with the index, and this cancels out with the index. So my final answer is going to be 2 times 3, which is 6. I'm just going to go ahead and multiply it out. 2 times 3 is 6. I have y, z. And the numerator is going to stay untouched. It's going to be cube 90x squared yz. And that's it, guys. I hope that helps for the homework.